I'm back. Welcome back. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to Church with Bo. Took a nice little month off there, gang. I did get my holidays right. It was my birthday. It was my sister's birthday. I don't know why the lights are doing that. One sec. Let's see. That should fix it. It's my birthday. It was my sister's birthday. My nephew was born right after my birthday. It's been a crazy, crazy. So welcome Dominic Paul Mills to the world. We love you. It's been a crazy couple weeks. Okay. The US invaded Venezuela. We took the president out in like less than 15 minutes. Soldiers from the ground were reporting that everybody's ears and noses started bleeding and they were hit with some kind of crazy directed energy weapon. The Department of War has confirmed that we got directed energy weapons and that we're planning to scale up. These are things that I've heard on like conspiracy podcasts and like weird little niche channels on YouTube that would be like, have you heard of these? That guy from that Antarctica whistleblower who said he was like a plumber, an electrician or some shit. Then he worked in Antarctica for some reason. They contracted him out there. He came back and went on a bunch of podcasts. He was on Sean Ryan. He went on Derp with Kerp, and they were talking about how he thinks that the Ice Cube neutrino detectors that we're messing with out there are actually not just what we say they are, where we're trying to measure like different temperatures in different parts of the ice and shit, but also have some kind of direct energy weapon effect when used correctly. It was very interesting, but a lot of mixed signals coming from the news and from the streets, at least from what I could tell from, asking people like around the mall and at my work and stuff what they think and what they've actually heard, as opposed to what, we've been seeing on the news and being fed to us on Instagram and X and all these other places. I don't know. Ultimately, I don't really know what to think. And I could give less of a dick about any of it. Like, I talk about all this stuff, because at the end of the day, it does affect us and it's pretty close to home. And it definitely, a lot of these things will reflect on, oh, our prices are going up. Apparently, we did this so we could get more oil, but gas still keeps going up. Ultimately, I guess that's really the only thing that matters is how it affects people and people around you's general day-to-day life, because a lot of the shit we see on the internet and we see on the news in general might be lies. It might all be bullshit for all we know. It could just be a high level AI slop that's being fed to us as, oh, look, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. And really, that's not what's happening at all. So the only thing you can trust is yourself and what you love and what makes you feel good and do good at the end. I heard John Mellencamp on Rogan last week. He was chain smoking cigarettes like a fucking chimney, just back to back in it. And he said that like he's gone to the doctor. He's still like that's his last vice. He's given up drinking and everything else he ever did. The only thing he really does is smoke cigarettes. And he said that for him, it's more of a find what you love and let it kill you type of situation. Where he said when he met his first wife, she hated cigarettes. She thought they smelled like shit. She didn't like them. And one thing led to another, and she ended up to start smoking cigarettes with him, and she got into smoking too. He said that he divorced her, and his new girlfriend, his new younger girlfriend, hates cigarettes again. You know? And I feel like, yeah, obviously, it's not great to see somebody you love doing something that you both know is bad for them. And you, as somebody who's never smoked, has no idea the allure or, the way that man's looking at it. Like he smoked a couple cigarettes, he doesn't feel terrible, whatever. And ultimately you're like, well, I don't know. Yes, it's probably not the healthiest thing getting these highly processed fucking garbage sticks, but I see how if I just grew some tobacco in my backyard and rolled up cigarettes out of it, it wouldn't probably have any negative health consequences to me long term, like they say. It might have a little bit here and there, a little blacker lung, a little whatever, but I mean, my great aunt, one of my great aunts smoked till she was like, if not over 90, like around 88, 89. And she was smoking packs and packs a day for most of her life. She always smoked. She cut it down a lot towards the end, she started going senile and shit. So we didn't really like trusting her with a lighter, but we'd have my grandma and my other great aunt go check on her and light her up cigs all the time. They'd check in on her every few days, clean up if she like had pissed around the house or anything. And cigarettes ultimately were not what knocked her out. So there's countless examples like that, at least around my life, because, Eastern Europe and Romania, everybody smokes. I smoked a cigarette for the first time when I was about 3 years old, maybe a little younger. It might actually be one of my first memories. Like I didn't come on, I think I've said this before, I didn't come online as a result of that, but I remember before my parents were arguing and they were pissing me off whenever I would make them mad or something, they would go and take a cigarette, go outside, go to the street where, it wouldn't be in our faces, and they would smoke a cigarette real quick and they'd come back. So when they were pissing me off to no end and I didn't know what to do, I snuck a cigarette out of their pack, took the lighter, went out to the front of we had a joint backyard with my grandma's house, so my grandma wasn't there. They were gone. I just walked straight through to like her front yard, opened the door outside of her yard, stood out front, hit the cigarette once, choked, coughed my fucking lungs out, and was like, whoa, I felt 17 different types of dizzy. So I looked up after I had choked and threw the cigarette on the ground, and there was an old lady, the tanti right across the street from me, was staring at me like, you're like, ah. So I immediately ran back inside and was like, nope, nope, she didn't see shit. She don't know shit. And I'm pretty sure I ended up going and passing out because I was, fucking buzzing off a cig. I think I went and laid down in the living room, tried to watch some TV or something, and I passed out, woke up. My parents are having a barbecue. So I go in and they're all like, we had our garage like lifted up with like a table a little bit towards the edge of the garage, so the wind didn't block them and people could still smoke their cigarettes and shit. And they're all at the table chatting it up. And my dad calls me over and he's like, come here. So a lady across the street called your grandma and she said that she saw you smoking a cigarette today. And I was like, yeah. Even at a very young age, I learned it was better to just face whatever is coming to you than to have to lie and live in a web of lies. And so I said, yeah, why? And my dad was just like, did you like it? I said, no. was fucking disgusting. Like I almost threw up. That shit made me dizzy as hell. And they laughed, all the adults laughed, and he was like, all right, well, sounds like you learned your lesson, move along. And I moved along, all this as a long-winded form of saying that you got to find what you love and let it kill you. Find your love, love your kids. A lot of people find the love and the feeling of something they love that they're willing to let kill them in their own kids, in their own passion in making music and drawing art and making comic books and writing books and movies and building tables and doing epoxy resin tables and chairs and 3D printing. There's a world of shit and a world of shit you might like. So ultimately, I believe that the search is what you're on. If you don't have something that you love so much, you might want to let kill you. I'm sure I've talked about this before when I decided that I really was going to make music for the rest of my life, regardless of if it turned into anything, if it made me any money or anything. I decided that I'm willing to die doing this. I'm willing to die by my music if that's what it takes, you know. And even then, I was probably like 16, 17 at most, just turned 18 when I had fully decided it. But that you can kill the man, but you can't kill the idea. You can't kill that fiery passion and that feeling you have inside of you for something that you love to do so much. You feel compelled to do it. Like it almost feels selfish when I'm recording music and really enjoying myself and shit. It feels like, I guess, a cathartic, like healthy, relaxing experience that energizes me. Like I could be having a terrible day, and if I can hear the right beat, make the right beat, and get on it and just pour my soul out. A lot of times I don't even have to write anything. I just follow the feeling. Like right now, I don't prepare for these shows. I don't write this shit down. I don't have a script. I just do what feels right, speak what feels like is the most passionate thing, I guess, that is going to come out of my soul straight to y'all. Because I don't do this for you. I guess on some level, I do make this show for people like maybe my nephews when they're older to come around and see and enjoy this. But ultimately, it's also for me. I enjoy the experience of speaking my soul out and letting this shit go, summarizing everything that I can remember that I've done the past few weeks that's top of mind and worth mentioning, at least for myself, if for nobody else. And I don't know. I guess I get a great joy about it and from it at the end of the day. So find something you love, let it kill you, let it fill you, enjoy your life. You know, if you're already messing up on your New Year's resolutions, it's fine. It doesn't matter. The year has just begun. Keep starting over and keep doing everything you want to do and keep that thought of, oh, I want to do this. I want to quit doing this so much. I want to do this better. I want to write every day for half an hour. Just keep repeating those thoughts to yourself till after they get annoying, till they get so annoying that you just gotta get in front of that thing and pull that piece of paper out and do the do. You know, learn from others as you would wish they would learn from you. That's all on that. Let's see what we can see. Uh Reddit. Yes, ICE killed a few. I think it was a week ago. It might have been 2 weeks ago at most. ICE killed a middle-aged 30-some-year-old lesbian woman with three kids because she tried to run somebody over. They said it was like car is considered a deadly weapon, so they couldn't, find any way to justify what she had done, and the ICE agents got away with it. Trump tried to tweet out like she was some kind of monster animal, and it's happened again. Alex Preddy was a 37-year-old registered nurse. He was an ICU nurse at the Veterans Hospital. He dealt with fucking veterans at like a free clinic, essentially, something you don't have to do as an RN unless you're really passionate about helping the needy. From what I could tell, 37-year-old white guy, super soft-spoken white dude. He did, I guess, have a concealed carry permit because he lives in Minnesota and Minneapolis, where, George Floyd happened. So it's a dangerous fucking area to just be walking around at, especially at night, probably around the VA hospital too. So apparently he had a gun on him, but I saw the video. You could look up the video. He's just filming people. He's got like his phone up like against his chest and he's like talking to the cops, like the ICE cops in their face. And he's kind of like do 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 because they were bullying some lady. And within like 10 seconds of him getting in between them bullying a lady, it's like five, six fucking ICE agents, mind you. They start pepper spraying him. They get him on the ground, and it all happened so fast. It was like a minute. They pepper spray him. He falls to his knees. They like pull him back up. They take his gun, and then a different agent shoots him in the fucking back of the head. I think it was the back of the head. I hope it wasn't fucking head on. That's fucked up. But regardless, somebody shot the kid in the head and executed him fucking ISIS style. And according to what the governor said, they just dropped his body, like they just backed up and they left. They didn't call nobody. They didn't call, homicide to come pick up the body or nothing. They just left to let the cops figure out what happened later. Same shit happened. Trump and the Department of fucking the Homeland, and all these fucking faggot politicians pop up on X talking about he was a criminal with a gun and he was trying to attack the ICE agents. It was one guy and he's getting bullied by fucking six dudes for trying to stop them from bullying a lady. He didn't go nowhere near reaching for a gun. He only had one arm because his fucking hand was holding his phone up to his chest. Like they were in no danger, clearly. And it seems like, don't quote me on this, but it appears that even the people, at least in Minneapolis, might be getting tired of the government's lying, propagandist, Jewish blood libeling assets. You know? And I hope they do. I don't care. Ultimately, these last two people that got killed by ICE were clearly Americans, like American-born American citizens who loved America. They were more MAGA than anybody else by the looks of them. And me being an actual immigrant, first generation immigrant who's here on a fucking green card that we won from a international lottery, I just try to completely avoid these situations. I look and sound as white as possible and don't fuck with me, you know, because it's scary out there. I'm not really gonna get too much more into this shit, but Let's just say that I am not on the government side of that one. All right. Nearly all Epstein files still unreleased a month after the Congress deadline. That's not surprising. And they're going to probably try to blow up all the people they're killing in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in general, so they could keep pushing this further under the rug. I haven't really heard anybody say anything about the fact that it's been over a month after the deadline and we still don't have shit. I don't think we'll get shit. Our government is ran by a satanic cult of interdimensional trillionaire PDF filers. You know, Not sure what we can do about it, especially, from a broke position. ICE flew 2-year-old to Texas despite court order to release her from custody. It's the modern day Gestapo. They're the SS listening to Hitler's commands. What can I say? NRA and pro-gun groups call for full investigation. I agree. White House posts digitally altered image of woman arrested after ICE protest. I'm saying, I looked at this one a few days ago. Look, this is the actual picture of her. She's just like, man, what the hell? This is bullshit. The people probably talked to her. We're like, okay, you'll be out in a minute. Just let us process you and blah blah blah. White House edits her to look like fucking Whoopi Goldberg's dilapidated, Ozempic up corpse crying. Looks like she's a burn victim covered in tears. What the hell? And it made her blacker. Why? Some bullshit, man. Fuck the news. Fuck that bullshit. And fuck the Jews. The Joes Rogans. Let's see what alien shit is talking. Newly released IR footage of the unknown triangular-shaped aircraft spotted over Area 51, Nevada test and training range recently. If I had to guess, this specific one looks like some kind of military shit. That looks like some sort of like, the big triangle stealth bombers, but probably way faster and way newer. Like, I'm not against this potentially being something, we don't know about, but off first instinct, I would say that this is probably just some like hypersonic fucking government tech they don't want us to know about. Canadian Defense Minister didn't hedge his words. He said UFOs are real, multiple alien species have visited.
There had, in fact, been face-to-face meetings between United States officials and extraterrestrials from other solar systems. And with that assurance, I decided to go public that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying over your head. I would not attempt to say how many terrestrials are living on Earth at the present time. I have reports of several species that are here, have bases here. There's one species that looks something like a praying mantis.
Okay. Mantids confirmed before GTA 6, gang. Canadian Defense Minister confirms existence of the mantids. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing, but that's really interesting. 9 hours ago, honestly, I'm not surprised. I might be a little surprised about the mantids in particular, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of this shit has been hidden, and it is like Kurt Metzger says. It's like it feels almost like some super advanced interdimensional rich people that had gotten so rich and into their own paying of researching and developing of certain weird sciences and shit that they figured out how to break through this dimension into other dimensions or some shit, and they got stuck and now they're prisoners in between dimensions and they can't feel, so they try to manipulate us and shit. Through that interdimensional shit, I'm sure there are other beings, like mantids and shit. I don't know. I just think that could be one explanation for it, at least. I'm not an expert, haven't devoted too much time to it, but I'm open to the idea. I don't want to say there's definitely no such thing as aliens because we've never seen any concrete evidence, but I also like to leave it open, I know, seems ridiculous, but it might not be.
Of course, it's made us wonder, is there a correlation between our transients and UFO events? And this is a paper published in Scientific Reports, which belongs to the Nature portfolio journals. And my dear colleague, Stephen Burrell, he has actually decided to test this. So he used data from 1949 to 1957, the same our transient data set, just from the Northern Hemisphere, a clean, beautiful data set, while there are still some artifacts there. But he also took
Okay, this bitch is annoying. Oh my God. Villarroel. The nuclear UFO connection in her transient study. They found a 68% increase of UFO transients appearing above Earth's atmosphere a day after a nuclear test, and an additional increase in transients whenever UFO sightings were reported on Earth. Go figure. I'm not against that either. There's a lot of strange connections between the fact that every time something crazy happens around nuclear sites, there's usually also some kind of UFO phenomenon happening around that time before, after as well, and that UFO sightings greatly spiked or some shit like that once we did discover nuclear fusion, I believe it is, and we started having nuclear power plants and nuclear armed warheads and bases, and a lot of UFO activities started happening around these bases that had nuclear warheads, and in places like Japan where they have a lot of sightings around nuclear power plants. Very interesting. Let's see what we got in robotics this week. An AI-powered robotic wheelchair from China can navigate uneven ground and even climb stairs using sensors and adaptive control. Oh, baby. I mean, at that point, you're not even, you are literally handy-capable, not handicapped. That's beautiful. Can't wait. Can't wait. Day 120 of building Asimov, an open-sourced humanoid, practicing his kicks. He will keep getting kicked and keep standing. It's a beautiful robot. Look at those actuators, those feet. Nice. Fresh in the mail. This motherfucker is about to build something. First open source robotics project, 3D printable, ESP32 rover family with rocker bogie suspension. I love the suspension. That's very cool. And the fact that it's 3D printed means you could pretty much print the whole, shell at least out on your own 3D printer. The guy's probably got a link to it. Check them out. And looks like some kind of Arduino setup. You just do double up, look it up, and just basic wiring to, looks like each of the wheels got their own sets of wires. That might be complicated, but aside from that, looks pretty cool. Wonder if maybe something like this could be used, farm. Set a little robot like this to water all my weed plants, man. Or maybe monitor bugs or some shit. Even as a little security bot, with some kind of like taser on it. So if it catches somebody trying to snip my plants or something, you can just dart and shock them quick. 10,000 volts, 100,000 kilowatts. River robot versus human. Ha, the delivery, the delivery man is seeing his future replacement. Bipedal test. Asimov. I like the Menlo shirt, right? That's kind of cool. I don't know what that robot is though, because the legs are clearly Asimov. I think that's like as far as they've gotten him. And the Menlo must be a different robot that's already working. Nice. New quadruped project. Looks like the Boston Dynamics dog. What are we talking about here? Wow. I hate when that shit happens. Fucking zooms in on the picture, and then I'm like, well, fuck, exit out of this bullshit because it looks like it pops up a new tab. And I exit that one tab, and now everything is fucking closed out because I guess I had already closed the other tabs. But it's fine. Hope everybody has a wonderful week. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're gonna keep it short just for this week at least, nice, fast, short, quick, you know. Check out my new song that should already be out on YouTube and will be out on all platforms. I'm gonna keep dropping music this year, trying to drop at least 2 a month, maybe 3, 4, I don't know, probably. Got a bunch of songs I'm trying to release in a steady stream. So look out for On God by BB Angel. I love the way this song came out. So it's gonna be the first one I drop. I had my buddy Cuddy Joe mix it for me. I was playing him a bunch of shit I recorded on my own, and he was like, you know what, I like that one. Send me that. And I was like, hey, he hears something he likes in that, fuck with it. And honestly, it was not what you're going to hear it as. It was very rough. And he took the very rough bits and pieces I had, and he made a real vibe, if I could say so myself. So I like to think a lot of my best work has been made with the Cuddy. So I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Look out for that. We're gonna drop a bunch of reels and shorts using it as well. Put it on your reels and shorts if you can. Follow me on Instagram at Bahabo. Check out my music page at BB Angel. YouTube, iTunes, Spotify's everywhere. iTunes might still be Baja Bo also. Don't quote me on that, but it should be BB Angel all over. Yeah. Have a good night.